campus has played a very important role in shaping up who I am today, I guess, because the most important thing that college can give you is a lot of time to plan your career. And I think it was our first day in the college, and Vibhuti Pandya sir, he said something very important that stayed with me for entire like this 3 years. It completely stayed with me. He said that everyone was asking questions, and I asked this question, sir, how much is the scope in animation industry? And he said that when you switch on any animation channel, one show is at least repeated 4 times in a day. So whatever is the scope today, tomorrow at least it's 4 times the scope, because the episode is repeated 4 times in a day. So don't worry, there's a lot of scope. So that stuck with me, and I thought like, okay, if they have less shows, let me create some more. Actually passed out from BIT in 2010, and my first ever job was in Reliance Animations, and that I had already decided while I was in college that whatever the first studio that I'll ever join would be Reliance Animations, because they were making this show called Little Krishna, and I thought like if such good quality work is happening in India, then I want to join the studio that's doing this work. And obviously, in Reliance Animations, I got the chance to write Shaktiman animation series, and later on, I joined Green Gold Animations and wrote Chota Bheem, Mighty Raju, Chor Police, Love Kush, around I think 17 shows in India. And later, because it was becoming very repetitive, I wanted to explore something else. I wanted to explore something new. So I thought like I could write well for teenagers, and that is when I started applying in the American studios, and I started writing few concepts, and one of my concepts received a lot of traction on Amazon Prime website. So from there I got a call from DreamWorks Animations, and I joined DreamWorks Animations, and so on and so forth. The career took all the good turns, all the right turns, and yeah, here I am. Currently, I'm working with Nucleus Media Rights as the Vice President of Children and Family Division, and I'm actually creating at least 6 to 7 shows for children and family in Europe, US, UK, for France TV, for Kika, which is a German TV for children and family, and then for ITV and Netflix, and yeah, all these BBC, which is a UK network. So yeah, right now I'm working with those guys. So I'll just so first question is, what role according to you did the college play in building up your career? So I think the most important role that college played was it gave me a lot of time to plan my career, because college BIT doesn't offer this diploma or very short term course where you just get specialized into something like semi specialized, because you can't get specialized into something in 3 or 4 months or even 11 months for that matter. I think what BIT does is it offers a long term course like 3 years, 4 years. And 3 years, 4 years is a lot of time where you can actually gain a lot of knowledge about the industry. You can understand what is happening in the industry, and you can easily plan your career. In these 3 years, you can actually know what you want to be. Like, you will not have to take a decision based on your course. Whatever course you have done, you'll not have to take that kind of a decision. You can take a decision based on your interest. And I think that is the most important thing that a long term course can offer. And I think you should take a lot of advantage, and you should try to discover your interest before jumping into something कि अच्छा 3D animation का course available है, चलो करके 3D animator बन जाओ. What if you don't like being a 3D animator? So I think that was the most important thing, because by the end of the fourth semester, I knew that I want to be a storyteller. I knew that I want to do writing. Although I was good at sketching, and sketching is very important, obviously. I was good at sketching and 3D modeling and stuff like that. But I knew that I want to be a storyteller and I want to be a writer. I want to tell n number of stories. I think that was really important. That carved my career in the most initial phase. Uh, so the second question is, when did you decide that making cartoons and animation is your dream job? So actually, no job. You don't think about it. As in, like, I started thinking about making cartoons and animations and storytelling and writing and stuff at the age of 5. Because at the age of 5, my dad took me to watch this movie, Jurassic Park, and he, like, I was really scared, and he told me these dinosaurs are not real. And I told him, man, these are not real, then who has created them? So he said, like, a person can create these things, and tell convincing stories. These are all created on computers. And that is when I decided that when I grow up, I want to make dinosaurs. That was my thinking at the age of 5. But when I grew up, I started making my own cartoons. I started making some stories, some other stories, and later I got introduced to Harry Potter, and then I was really convinced that this is what I want to do. I want to be a storyteller. But obviously, in college, I thought that because I was also discovering how I can be a storyteller. So in college, I thought, like, if I become an animator, probably I can be a storyteller. Or because I don't know if any studio was hiring writers at that point of time. Like around 10 years ago, none of the studios, like, you don't even get that vacancy that we are hiring writers. So I thought, like, okay, this is the way I can enter a storytelling industry, a medium that I really love, computer CG animated characters, and yeah, all these things. And yeah, I think when I was out of college, I started telling people, even in college, I was telling people that I want to be a writer, I want to be a storyteller. But that time, there was no way of doing it. You just have to be an animator first and 3D modeler first. I think I joined Reliance Animations as 3D modeler. Uh, but later, people discovered that I am a much better storyteller, and that is how I got my break. And suddenly, my dream became my dream job. So I think that's what happened.
Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning.
Well, basically, I want to ask that every person there's a downfall and a weakest moment that we go through. So, what is the most weakest moment of your life in entire this journey, and how you overcome from this?
So my weakest moment was probably like after like I had joined the industry at the age of 20. I was just 20 years old, and then I started writing Shaktiman, and it started airing on Nickelodeon. So I thought that now I can get a job anywhere, and if you get that egoistic kind of a feeling at that age, you're 21, 22, and you have a show on TV, and people have started, like, in the industry, people know you by your name, that kind of a thing happened. And I thought, like, okay, now I can get a job anywhere. And I resigned from Reliance, and I just went to Disney, like, as if they were waiting for me to give me a job. So I just went there, and got humiliated, and not humiliated, actually. I was shown the reality that there are a lot of writers struggling to get one show. You were lucky you got one, but this attitude is not going to help you. And I was really heartbroken and shattered. And but then something happened over there. I actually told the guys that today I'm taking this vow, that you guys are kicking me out, but on your channel, I'll have 4 shows with my name on them, and you're not going to stop me. And that's what I said in arrogance or whatever. Then I got out, and I started working hard on how am I going to do that. I have already said that thing inside the office, in their office, but how am I going to do that? So I started doing my research, and a lot of hard work, a lot of inside information, and I finally figured out that okay, Green Gold has signed a contract with Disney. So I decided that okay, not Disney, but Green. Let me join Green Gold, and then it was hard work. And there's one more thing that happened in my life at that point of time. I think if at that point of time there was not a bigger energy than me, like I started believing in God at that point of time, that it's not just you, it's some if something is happening your way in such a way that you actually stood in some big ass studio like Disney and shouted on everyone and said that okay, you are kicking me out, but one day, like all kind of arrogant stuff you said on their studio floor. Still, if what you said comes true, that means it's not you. It's God who helped you to get there. It's a bigger power who actually made what you said come true. Actually, in 4 months or 5 months, next 5 months, I had 4 shows on Disney with my name on them. So I started believing in God, and that is how I overcome that very dark phase of my career. And I thought it would have ended if I didn't understand that it's not me, and ये सब कुछ भगवान नहीं हूँ, कोई और भगवान है. If I had not understood that, I think I would have failed and I would have not succeeded. I would not have moved past that incident. Very important that don't be egoistic with a with a small success. Always believe that there is some bigger power that's helping you. It can be a parent, it can be God, it can be whatever. And that is why after winning Emmy, when I gave my interview to NRI Woman, they actually called my interview Tathastu, because I lay a lot of emphasis on this thing that whatever I have dreamt of has come true. It's because there is a bigger power who's helping me on every step of my life. So every time I ask for something, I get a Tathastu.
Good morning, ma'am.
Hi, good morning, Divanshu.
Ma'am, how did you feel when you were working on your first ever project?
I was feeling it's unreal. I was feeling that it's not really happening. It's all in the dream. Because the first ever project happened so suddenly. My first ever project was Shaktiman animation series that aired on Nickelodeon and Sonic, and so that time I was working with Jeffrey Scott. He's a six-time Emmy Award-winning writer, and I was editing his scripts. So I have been a good script editor since the beginning of my career, and I actually used to feel that wow, like very very good. Actually, it was a very good feeling. I can't forget my Reliance days ever. I'm still in touch with the team that started Shaktiman. It was just the four of us who used to roam around in the studio and sometimes sit in that room, and like we used to brainstorm a lot, and we became very good friends. We are still friends, and yeah, I think that's the most wonderful time of my career. It was like yeah, it was wonderful. It was amazing, and it was a dream come true.
Good morning, ma'am. Ma'am, my question was, when you are writing something or whenever you are thinking about a new piece that you will create, what kind of style do you usually like to use, or what kind of genre do you usually like to explore, or do you like to make changes and explore new things?
See, the thing is, when I'm creating a concept, so there are two things: when you write a script and when you create a concept. So scripts are basically written for shows that are already created. The concept is already in place. So you normally follow the rules of storytelling, which is hook, hold, and payoff. You set up a hook. You hold the characters by introducing conflicts, and then when the character overcomes all the conflicts, you get a payoff. That's what you follow when you are writing scripts. But when you are trying to create a concept, a new concept, I try to go with the trends. And sometimes I create a new concept out of the blue. If I'm thinking about creating something new, think about what's what's not happening right now. See, in India, it's very difficult to create a new concept because most of the networks ask you कि एक छोटा भीम का copy बना देना. So very desi concepts now everyone wants to create. So, but there also when Reliance approached me to create a show for kids that can inspire them to be police officers, and they wanted to create a Singham. So that is when I came up with this tagline, "Police ki vardi sher ka dam, naam hai iska let Singham." And I think what was going in my mind was if this kid has to be inspirational for 10-year-olds, then Police ki vardi should be the best thing. Like it should be the most focused thing in the show because uniforms inspire kids. Like all the children, whether they're 6 to 8 years old or like even younger kids, they really respect uniforms. Even like sometimes we don't respect the watchmen uh, of our society, of our colony, but children, when they see a person in uniform following discipline, because they themselves wear uniforms to their schools, they did definitely respect uniforms. So I think that was our main focus while creating that show. But as I said that in UK, in US, you get a lot of freedom. So you can create anything what comes to your mind. So I think creating a concept, the most important thing for me is creating a log line. If a concept and it should not be about solving problems because every concept is about solving problems. Or it should be deeper than that. Like in nucleus media rights, I push forward the philosophy of be who you are, and all the shows that we are creating at nucleus media rights are following this philosophy. Like you don't have to be a superhero with superpowers, to be fearless. You can just be who you are, and uh, yeah, it's bigger than that because there's a lot of diversity in these countries, but there is less acceptance compared to India. So we also think about inspiring children to be who they are, so that the parents who are actually not accepting towards other races, other communities, uh, children don't have to fall into that trap of dogmatism, and just follow this thing that okay, you can't be friends with her because she's not of the same color. You can't be friends with her because she's an immigrant. So these things create a lot of insecurities in children, and that is why we push forward the this philosophy of be who you are, and that is when we create shows where the children uh, or or even the adults, they're not trying to be superheroes, but if you simply be who you are, you can actually exhibit the most powerful quality of a superhero, and that is fearlessness. I think that is a quality that inspires us all when we see a Superman jumping off the roof with no fear on his face. That is what inspires us all, and that I think that quality can be exhibited in any kid who is fearless and is not afraid to be who they are. I think that's how I am working on concepts these days.
Ma'am, my question is, what would be the ultimate advice that would wanna tell your younger self?
Actually, when you're young, you are meant to make mistakes. I have made a ton of mistakes when I was 20 or 23 or even 18 or 17. When I was in college, I have made a lot of mistakes. But I think I've learned a lot from those mistakes. I think those mistakes have taught me a lot. Those mistakes have made me who I am. So I think the only advice I would like to give my younger self is uh, never be afraid of making mistakes. Make those mistakes, but don't make them twice. I think that's the advice. Don't make them twice. Learn from those mistakes and create. Uh, yeah. What's the advice I'll give? I don't have no advices. I just have this feeling that you should not be afraid. You should not be afraid of dreaming. You can dream anything because all dreams come true eventually if you like really care about your dreams. And yeah, never be afraid of making mistakes. That's my advice, I guess.
Thank you, ma'am.
So, ma'am, my question is to that did your parents have issues with you choosing a career in animation?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. My parents wanted me to succeed, and they thought becoming a writer is not a very good way of becoming successful. But that happens with parents because there is a notion in our country that engineering and doctor and all these fields are the only fields where you can succeed. But I think uh, the most important thing when you're going through that phase where parents don't support you, and just tell them that this decision, whatever you're making, it's your own decision, and the most important thing is you're not going to regret this decision. And that's what I used to tell my parents that guys, this is a decision that I have made. Yes, I might fail, but I'll not blame you. I'll blame myself. I'll not regret. And I think that is when they understood that okay, she's not going to change her path. She would do what she's saying that she would do. So let's stop bothering her. And I think that really changed a lot. But yeah, initial 2 3 years were very difficult, and I really had struggle convincing. Like I really struggled in the initial 2 years because I was not successful in initial 2 years. But when they saw that okay, this is really working, this is making sense, they understood.
Thank you, ma'am.
Ma'am, I would like to know what would you give an advice to the newcomers on the field? Like, what should they keep in mind for the newcomers who don't have any experience right now?
Yeah, I get your question. A very good question. I think this I was waiting for this question. Actually, the biggest mistake that newcomers are making in animation industry is that they don't consider this field as a very serious field. Actually, animation and creative, yeah, it's a creative field, but it's an extremely, extremely serious field. I have seen newcomers walking into an interview with their sandals or slippers, their hair not combed, I think the most important thing for newcomers is not just newcomers but students. They need to take this field very seriously because if you're not good, like you can be okay, like you can be okay, but you will not get a job if you're just okay. You have to be exceptional in this field to just just get accepted. Yes, in colleges and in these institutes like Maya, what are these, Mac, Framebox, there are a lot of animation in this institutes. It's not difficult to get into these institutes, and that is why people or newcomers think that okay, it would be easy to get into the industry as well. But in the industry, the competition is very very tough, and if you're not exceptional, your showreel is not exceptional, your CV is not exceptional, people would not take you seriously. And that I can promise you. You have to take this field very, very seriously. It's a very serious profession. You have to practice every single day. Whatever you're like, you want to be an animator, you have to practice at least 5 to 6 hours every day to be a good animator. You must gain a lot of knowledge from like yes, colleges and teachers teach you a lot, but if you have decided in your second year that you want to be a 3D animator, then you must go to you must check out all the animation that's happening. You must check out what DreamWorks is doing, and if you can match what, not match exactly, you won't be able to match it, but they use different softwares. But if you can even get close to what they're doing, then there is a possibility that you will get a job as a 3D animator in one of the studios in India. Because I have seen, but thing is, the good news is the scope is increasing. Companies, billion. like billion-dollar company. Like Byju's is a $10 billion company. Then Vedantu is estimated as a $3 billion company. The good thing is, billion-dollar companies are getting into this field. Byju's is creating a lot of 3D animation, 2D animation, games, apps. So when software industry is getting into this field and the children industry is expanding, you can see companies like First Cry. People are actually paying attention on children now. You can see on roads that adults wear helmets, but children don't wear helmets. So children were that invisible in India. But recently, there are children helmets. Like people are manufacturing them. Children industry, overall children industry is growing in India. People are making apps, games, and cartoons and whatnot. So the good news is scope is increasing. You guys have a lot of companies where you can apply. You must know that if you're a 3D animator or a 2D animator or concept artist, what all companies you can apply to, and which company is best suited for your what you like. I mean, that is the biggest thing that you need to determine in the second year of your college itself. In the second year, determine that what company is best suited for you, and then focus on that company, gain knowledge about that company, understand what they're looking for, check out what kind of career postings, job postings they're doing every year, every month, at what time of the year, and make some friends on LinkedIn regarding that, like that particular studio only. Like follow some people, make some friends on LinkedIn, make some connections. Like it's my dream to join Byju's, so you can just start making friends, and eventually, when you're done with your third year, you can actually apply to that company and get into that company because you already know the people of that company. You already know what that company is doing. So I think that is very important. Like you can't be waking up in third year and thinking, अच्छा चलो apply करना चालू करते हैं, अच्छा इधर तो कर दिया. Just no, that doesn't work. You'll have to do full research. You'll have to make some friends. References work in all the industries. It's not like it's only there in animation and freshers को तो लिया नहीं जाता. कोई भी industries में fresher को नहीं लिया जाता. सबको network बनाना पड़ता है. Like even in software industry, you have to make friends. You have to get recommendations. You have to follow a company that you want to join, and that happens in all the industry, even in banking. Government jobs में अलग है, you give an entrance test and get into a government job, but there's a lot of competition and you have to be very serious. I think that is my biggest advice to the newcomers and to animation students.
Thank you, ma'am. Ma'am, I would like to ask one other question. That my interest lies in 2D animation. So,
Okay.
what would you like to give an advice that I should keep in mind in my portfolio, in my CV?
I think the most important thing is there should be a lot of gesture drawings. There should be a lot. Your lines should be very neat. Your poses should be very clean. Your anatomy should be perfect. And I think that is the most, because if you are applying for a 2D animator in a studio, you will not get a job of 2D animator initially. You will get a job of a cleanup artist. Uh, like, and then you will get promoted, and eventually you will become a 2D animator. So for a cleanup artist, you have to be like very patient. You should start practicing it. You can make some rough poses and then clean them up, and practice anatomy every day. And because you might have to make turnarounds, So for an animator, for a 2D animator, because I've known a lot of good 2D animators, I've seen that their anatomy is on point all the time, every single time, and that is why that is how they're able to animate, because it's very difficult. It's actually 2D animation is more difficult than 3D animation, because you have to create drawings for these poses, especially the key poses. So I think yeah, and obviously some animation samples can be there in your portfolio, but most important thing is drawings, anatomy drawings, gesture poses, sketches. I think all those things should be there in your portfolio. And the companies that hire 2D animators are very good. I think Reliance Animations hire a lot of 2D animators, Wacky Toons, Green Gold Animations. Uh, yeah, there are a lot of big companies that are hiring 2D animators. So yeah, all the best.
Thank you, ma'am.
Ma'am, I wanted to know, um, just like you said earlier, that you like to go with the trend. So, are there any new topics or genres, or not genres? I mean, are there any new
Yeah. So I understood your question. Yes, uh, see, content is just like fashion. Just like see, fashion industry releases a new uh, collection every season. I think content also needs to change every season. That is why we have season one, season two, season three, and we make a lot of changes in the seasons. But yes, it is very similar to how fashion changes. Like trends change similar in a similar manner. So in India, if I take the example of India, uh, but right now I'm working in European territory, so I'll take, but I don't know if you'll understand. So let me take the examples of what's happening in Europe right now. So this is a very uh, dark phase in Europe, and children love a lot of spooky stories, this, that. So you'll see Scooby-Doo is still running on UK networks, like Tiny Pop or Apple TV or Netflix, a lot of spooky shows are there. So for especially for UK networks, we try to create these spooky, supernatural, like you all know, the Stranger Things did really well in Europe and UK. So we are creating similar shows for European markets, and these kind of trends happen in India as well, because for a long time we were seeing shows that were similar to Chota Bheem, but then came a time, like right now is a time where we are seeing a lot of Bollywood shows coming in, like Singham and Simba and Golmaal and whatnot. So a lot of Bollywood. So right now the trend is Bollywood. So even if you see a normal, like Fukre Boys in another Bollywood property, so even if there is a show like Bhoot Bandhus or something that got released on Nickelodeon recently, the characters are not from Bollywood. It's a spooky show. It's a horror comedy kind of a thing. But still, the characters are acting like Bollywood characters. Like the Colonel Suri, there's a character called Colonel Suri. He acts like Amrish Puri. So there's a lot of Bollywood going on in India right now, but I think it's temporary, because sometimes children don't even get the references that okay, Mogambo, who's Mogambo, because they have never seen Mogambo. We have seen Mogambo, so we like to take that reference, but children don't even know who's Mogambo. I think this Bollywood trend is right now there in India, and a lot of people are thinking on making Bollywood properties or making something related to Bollywood. But I think this very temporary trend. I think with the advent of OTT platforms and see what's happening in India right now is we have seen OTT platforms come into the market recently, and they are offering shows like Transformers and Ben 10 and all the cool shows. And on the other hand, uh, on television you are seeing shows like Simple Samosa. So it's obvious that children would want to watch OTT platforms. They would want to watch cooler shows. So if like this is a point where the linear platforms, like normal channels, the linear platforms will have to change the way they're making content. Otherwise, they'll not be able to compete with the OTT platforms. That I can predict, because uh, if my son is watching Transformers, he would not watch Simple Samosa. Uh, and I'll always have to put him on Netflix or Amazon Prime, or and I think people might even stop because Woot Kids is doing very well, because it's offering a lot of variety of cool kids content. So I think that is where now networks need to switch and create more shows uh, with a more global appeal, I mean, Mighty Little Bheem did very well in United States of America because the quality was so good, and the character had a very global appeal. It was not just, it was like Masha and the Bear. So Masha is a Russian girl with a bear. So, but nobody knows that Masha is Russia. It's Russian. It was created by a studio called Anima, and
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
nobody knows that it's actually a Russian show. So that is the magic of the show. So India needs to create such shows that don't have to look very Indian. So that they have a global appeal, and even children in India can watch not just the OTT platforms, but they can also watch the linear platforms and watch some good shows on the linear platforms.
And ma'am, I wanted to know, I mean, is there any movie or a series that has impacted you as a person?
There are a lot of movies and series that has impacted me as a person. I think animation movie. I think I watched this movie when I was in college. The Emperor's New Groove. Emperor's New Groove. Disney Emperor's New Groove. So Emperor's New Groove was way ahead of its time. It taught me how to put humor in an animation movie. What kind of a humor should be used in anime, and I think uh, I think Marvel is following the same. Like it's following what was done in the Emperor's New Groove. It's trying to follow that in their movies. Like we have seen that in Ragnarok, that even though the situation is very difficult and Thor's eye is gouged out, still they try to keep the situation light by cracking four jokes. And I think this formula is followed these days in today's movies where DC is not able to do that, but still they're trying to introduce some humor, introduce some fun. Uh, I think Emperor's New Groove was the first movie that did that. As a person, as a human being, yes, Parichaya is one movie that has influenced me a lot. I think the storytelling is exceptional. The characters are wonderful. It's a movie. Yeah, I'm sure you all must have heard this song, Musafir Hu Yaro. So that's the movie I really love to watch. Parichaya is the name of the movie, and the third movie that really inspires me is Gladiator. It's a masterpiece, and I love that movie as well. In animation, Mulan is a close competitor to Emperor's New Groove. I think that was also a masterpiece with amazing characters. I love the character of Mulan animated, not the new one. And yeah, amazing storytelling. So these 4 5 movies have really touched me, have really shown me what a storyteller can do.
Ma'am, I would like to ask you a question.
Yeah, sure.
Um, what was your first reaction when you got to know that you have won an Emmy?
Yep, that question was there in the questionnaire as well. So the thing is, when I got nominated, I think that was that was the most happiest I was, because getting a nomination was also something out of the world. I was the first Indian to get nominated. I think Priyanka Chopra was also nominated in the same year for Quantico. So I think getting nominated is something that I was on the top of the world. I was really happy. But the thing is, I was not able to attend the function because I had to travel to India uh, of a because of a death in family. So I think when I got the news that I won, uh, it was really sad. So I think when I got nominated, it was the reaction that was the most happiest, out of the world, on the top of the world and flying in the sky, kind of a reaction. But when I won, I just heard the news. I didn't even share it with a lot of people. I just thought like whatever. That was my reaction, sadly. But yeah, eventually you learn to move on, and that's a blessing. And yeah, after that, obviously, I started enjoying the interviews and recognition. And obviously, with Emmy, what happens is you get a green card. Uh, and you can apply in any of the studios in US. You can even start your own company, and that is what I did, I guess. And then the world was open for me, because as soon as an Emmy gets attached to you, you can apply in any studio in the world. People are seeking you. You are not seeking the studio. So that was the biggest change, and I could shop a lot because started making a lot of money. So yeah, all those things happened. Who is your inspiration and how he or she inspired you? Okay, that's a tough one. Uh, I think while growing up, I had a lot of inspirations. I drew a lot of inspiration from Harry Potter. J.K. Rowling became my inspiration for a long time. I thought she's a woman, she's awesome, she's cool, she has written awesome story. And her story definitely inspired me a lot. And then there is this woman. Okay, so mostly I had these uh, female role models. I never had male role models. Then there's the story of Velma Rudolph, who had polio and won 4 Olympic gold medals. Her story inspired me to overcome any obstacle, because I thought, like, if someone has polio and she can win 4 gold medals, then all the obstacles are small. All the other obstacles are really small. So her story really inspires me a lot. And then there's my mom. She inspires me every day, uh, because she is an extremely creative person, and I think I get all my creativity from her. And my son has become my recent inspiration. Like, he's 5 year old. He's a great storyteller. He actually makes a lot of videos, tells a lot of stories. He inspires me every day. I think then he is my biggest inspiration right now. And he's adorable. He makes me happy. He keeps me writing. So, what made you choose screenwriting? I think screenwriting is something that I chose because I wanted to be a storyteller. I understood the principles of storytelling uh, when I start. Like, I really developed a lot of interest in my second year of college, and I joined this workshop called MOOC. It's a German storytelling institution where they have this online workshop, only $130. So when I started listening to the lessons, I started understanding the principles of storytelling. I just couldn't stop myself from writing stories, creating concepts, and I think uh, I think that is what made me choose screenwriting as a career. Definitely, I was not able to apply as a writer in all the studios, but later uh, I showed some of my scripts to the people over there, and they trusted me and they gave me a chance. I think that's how I became a screenwriter. So I never wanted to be like, I absolutely wanted to be a screenwriter, but I think while I started reading about it, while I understood the principles, I think that really helped me. Also, learning English was also a challenge in the beginning, because in Jaipur nobody speaks English. Yes, we are from English medium schools, but uh, who cares about English? So I think there was a very good mentor in Reliance Animations. His name was Satya Narayanan. He taught me a lot of English, and he used to correct my scripts, even though it was not his job. But he was uh, uh, one of the one of the I don't know. He is very important in my career. Although, like, we are in touch, and we talk at least like once in 3 months. But still, I think he played a very important role because he was the one who taught me English, and yeah. So that's how I became a screenwriter. How to reach internships, which is related to our field. I think I've already answered that question, but I think the easiest way is to start identifying what are the studios that you want to get in. Like, I had identified Reliance Animation in my second year when I started watching Little Krishna, and I had already made friends on LinkedIn. I had already made friends on, like, I knew everyone in Reliance Animations before joining Reliance Animations. and that is something that helped me a lot. I understood what they were doing. I even knew about Shaktiman before even getting into it. Like I knew they were working on Shaktiman just because I was talking to everyone in Reliance Animations. I think 12th June was our final exam. 15th June I had joined Reliance Animations because I had really prepared a lot that how I can join this particular studio, get an internship there. So I had an internship of 3 months, and I think on in the fourth month I had the job. Because it was like people already knew me there. They already like they felt that I was a part of the team for last 1 year. So I think that really helped me a lot. And I would suggest the same to all the students that they must identify what studio they want to work with, what are the people they want to work with uh, after they finish their college. So at least they should spend 1 year getting to know the people of that studio, making friends, and uh, focusing on making a showreel that is accurate and appropriate for that particular studio only. So I think that is the most important thing, how you can land into an internship and everything. So yeah.
Good afternoon, ma'am. Like, I have few questions. Like, I'm
Yeah.
into digital art, illustration, and inking some kind of that thing, like coloring
Okay.
and all. So, what should I keep in mind while doing it, and how often I should do it? Like, few times, like I get frustrated, but I think like I should do it like regularly. And how to, I mean, grow the Instagram or social media? Is it important as an illustrator or as a digital artist that you should focus on Instagram, Instagram and social media marketing, like get works
No,
from
not
there?
really. And I think you should definitely have an account on one of these art platforms like arts,
Yeah.
because it's whenever you want to share your portfolio, if you have something online, it's very easy to you can just share a link. You can have a link on ArtStation, because you know what, sometimes what Instagram and Facebook does is, if your drawing is very bad, still people write, oh, very nice, very good, very
Yeah,
awesome,
yeah,
wow,
that's true.
amazing. And that gives you a very false understanding of how good you are.
I mean, I
Instead,
have seen like many artists, I mean, get some commission work or something work from Instagram and social media. So I asked this question like,
yeah, it's
should
up
I?
to you. It's up to you, man. If you think that you can get a job from Instagram I don't know how much commissioned work. Instead, if you can, if you really want to get some commissioned work or anything like that, make an account on Favor. I think Favor is where all the freelance artists are there, and mostly people, if they're looking for someone, they search on Favor. You can also start posting your art on Pinterest. I don't know, but I think the most important thing, because you are into this inking, coloring. So you want to first you decide that you want to be a BG painter or you want to be a concept artist.
I'm into
And
illustrations.
illustration, yeah, but you like coloring more or you like drawing more? You like sketching? Like, how good are you in coloring?
Like I'm good, but I'm more into like inking the lines.
Sketching. Okay.
Yeah,
You
the line
want
seems to be more satisfying when I draw it or when I do it and fill it
to.
up.
So I get it. So there are two separate things: a BG painter and someone who makes the background designer. Background designer. So if you like lines more and if you like to draw more, then work on your perspective, because that's the most important thing when you start creating backgrounds for animation. Because if your drawings are not in perspective, you can't be a BG designer. If coloring is something that interests you more, then you can be a BG painter, learn about lights and shadows. And I think the most important thing is, while you are in college, make a very good portfolio and identify what you want to be. You want to be a BG like designer, or a BG painter, or a character designer, or a whatever whatever it is, concept artist, or like just
Mhm.
understand what you want to be, and then work on what exact requirements. Like if you want to be a BG artist, work on perspective. If you want to colorist, then work on drawings, light and shadow and all these kind of things. So once you have decided that you want to be a, because illustrations में तो फिर texture artist भी आ जाता है,
Mhm.
and illustrations. There are n number of things, n number of possibilities. So decide what you want to
Okay,
be
okay.
and make your portfolio accordingly. And maybe if you want to really create a social media presence, you can create it on Behance or ArtStation. There are many platforms, and yeah, it's very easy to share your portfolio from those places.
And one more question, ma'am.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I have put a target that I will do one sketching or something like that of 1 hour daily. But sometimes like it gets irritating. Like again, man, I have to do it, but I have put a target or I have to hit this target that I have to draw for 1 hour for daily. But it frustrates or irritates sometimes. Like
Yeah, but
how
that
to deal
happens
with
to all of us. In our field, it's called writer's block. Like I have to write every day. I have to write. Like it's my job to write every day. But still, sometimes you
it.
feel like you don't want to write. You don't want to write a single word. So that happens to us as well. It's called writer's block. So how I get out of a writer's block is so the writing is not the only creative thing that I do. I also paint. I also uh, play some music or sing or all these kind of creative things. I'm also into sculpting. So sometimes when I don't feel like writing or even watching movies, I love watching movies. So I indulge myself into some other creative endeavor. And once I pick up something, I finish it. I try to finish it. And like I may not like I'm if I'm not into writing at that point of time, I don't want to write, then I stop writing. I don't force myself to write. What I do is I indulge myself into other creative things. I love cooking. So cooking is also a very creative thing. So, but once you cook a meal and once you finish a painting, you get this feeling of accomplishment.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So if you're not feeling like you want to sketch, watch a movie. Which is your favorite movie? Make notes on that movie or do something else. Like a meal for everyone. Indulge yourself into some other creative endeavor, and once you finish what you have indulged yourself into, it gives you a sense of achievement. It puts you back on track. It puts you back in your groove. I think that's what helps me the most. It helps me to gain my mojo back. I think that's what I do.
Right. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Ma'am, nowadays I'm into designing characters and I really love designing them. And somehow I'm developing a style which I feel that it gets weird sometime, or sometimes I feel it's really nice. So please guide me regarding character designing.
Character designing is actually one of the most creative and difficult aspect. Like creative, it's very hard to find exceptional character designers. I think one of the cool character designer I know is uh, Mark Luman, and obviously Ian McCaig, who has done character designing and concept art for Mandalorian, and all these guys. No, I think the best thing about them is I have noticed that their anatomy is spot on. Whatever style they follow, they have very distinguished styles. Uh, but I think when you can't distort anatomy if you don't know anatomy. So I think for a character designer, I also know this guy Rajesh Indulkar. He's also a very good character designer, one of the best in India. I think for a character designer, the most important thing is uh, anatomy. I think the second important thing is fashion. You must have a good sense of fashion. You must know what a kid would wear, because sometimes the character designers have very good sense of anatomy and they can draw facial features, but they can't draw clothes, and that is when you don't feel like this character can, because clothes is a big part of personality of any character. So I think a character designer, whatever style you follow, whatever it can get weird, don't worry, but it should not be weird, as in it should not be hard to look at कि अरे ये क्या बना दिया. So it only happens when you have a good knowledge of anatomy and you have a good sense of fashion.
Thank you, ma'am.
As the concluding remark, it has been an amazing interactive session for all of us, and we are highly enlightened with your valuable words. And the session has been very informative and useful and motivating for all of us. Thank you so much, ma'am.